The world's economic systems are in crisis. Did you know that in 2020, nearly half of the global population lived on less than $5.50 a day? That's more than 3.5 billion people struggling to survive. Meanwhile, the top 1% now own over 40% of the world's wealth. How did we get here? From capitalism to socialism, no economic system has been able to meet the needs of everyone. In this video, we're diving into why economic systems fail, what's going wrong, who's benefiting, and what we can do to fix it. If you think you know why the economy is broken, think again. We're going beyond the usual answers. Get ready for shocking truths, hidden factors, and a fresh perspective on what's really going on with the world's economies. Chapter 1: The Mirage of Perfection. Why ideal economic systems never work. When we think of a perfect economic system, we imagine one where everything runs smoothly. But reality doesn't match the ideal. Whether it's socialism, capitalism, or a mix of both, economic systems always face challenges. According to economist Joseph Schumpeter, capitalism is by nature a form or method of economic change, and not only never is but never can be stationary. Every system has imperfections built into its very design. For instance, socialism promises equality but often struggles with innovation and freedom. On the other hand, capitalism pushes for innovation but creates vast wealth inequality. Even the world's strongest economies, like the US, are grappling with wealth gaps. In fact, a 2020 report showed that the richest 1% of Americans own 40% of the country's wealth. While the system works for some, it fails for others. So, is perfection possible? Not likely. Economic systems are constantly adjusting, but their flaws remain. As economist Friedrich Hayek said, the curious task of economics is to demonstrate to men how little they really know about what they imagine they can design. Chapter 2: The Human Factor. How greed and power undermine systems from within. Behind every economic system lies human behavior. And sometimes, that's the biggest problem. Greed, corruption, and the thirst for power don't just damage economies, they crush them. Take the 2008 financial crisis, for example. It was triggered by reckless bankers looking for profit at any cost. Millions lost their homes, savings, and jobs. Economist Thomas Piketty, in his book Capital in the 21st Century, found that wealth inequality has been rising for decades. Why? Because the rich hold power, and they use it to shape policies that benefit themselves. It's a cycle that feeds on itself, leaving others in the dust. Even in economies designed to be fair, like Scandinavia's social democratic models, there's a risk of the powerful elite influencing the system for their own benefit. If greed and power continue to control the game, economic systems can't succeed. As Aristotle said, the least good form of democracy is a democracy of the rich. Chapter 3: The Invisible Hands That Break the System. The Dangers of Oligarchies and Monopolies. Imagine a world where a few giant companies control everything. That's the reality we're facing today. In the US, just 5 companies dominate the tech industry. Google, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and Facebook control more than 70% of the market share in their respective areas. When power is concentrated, innovation dies, and so does competition. This creates a monopoly, where the consumer has no real choice. The economy becomes less dynamic and more rigid. In the early 20th century, economist John D. Rockefeller controlled nearly 90% of the oil industry. Today, the situation is no different, just with new names. As economist Adam Smith famously said, people of the same trade seldom meet together, even for merriment and diversion, but the conversation ends in a conspiracy against the public. When monopolies take over, the system isn't working for everyone. It's working only for the few at the top. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives like this one. Stay tuned as we explore how economic models often fail in unpredictable ways. Chapter 4: When Data Fails. The Dangers of Predictive Models. In the chaotic world, we've all seen economists make predictions about the future, often with numbers and graphs. But what happens when these predictions fail? Economic models are based on data, but data is only as good as the assumptions behind it. The 2008 crisis, for example, caught many top economists off guard. They had relied on models that assumed housing prices would continue to rise. They didn't account for the sudden crash that was coming. In fact, a 2018 study from the National Bureau of Economic Research found that economic forecasts have become less accurate over the years. And it's not just about predicting the future. It's about understanding that human behavior doesn't always follow neat patterns. Economist Nassim Taleb calls this the black swan theory. Rare and unpredictable events can have massive consequences. The bottom line? Predicting the economy is like trying to forecast the weather a year from now. It's nearly impossible. Chapter 5: The disconnect between theory and reality. Why economic policies always fall short. In textbooks, economic policies often look simple: raise taxes here, cut spending there, and voila. But in practice, things rarely go as planned. Take the idea of austerity measures. In theory, cutting government spending to reduce debt sounds great. But in reality, it often leads to higher unemployment and a slower economy. Greece's experience in 2010 is a perfect example. After implementing harsh austerity measures, the country's economy shrank by over 25%. The policies intended to fix the economy actually made things worse. According to economist Paul Krugman, austerity during a recession is a recipe for disaster. Policies are often crafted in boardrooms, far from the struggles of ordinary people, creating a disconnect between theory and reality. When policymakers ignore real-world feedback, they pave the way for failure. The classic example of this disconnect is the Great Depression, where policies aimed at solving the crisis only worsened the suffering. It's clear, theory doesn't always match up with practice. Chapter 6: Rebuilding from the ashes. Can we create a sustainable economic future? So, if current systems are flawed, can we build something better? The good news is, yes, we can. But it's going to take some radical thinking. First, we need to acknowledge that sustainability isn't just about environmental concerns, it's also about creating an economy that serves everyone. Economists like Amartya Sen argue that human well-being should be the main goal of any economic system. That means focusing on health, education, and equality, not just profit. In recent years, countries like Bhutan have embraced the concept of gross national happiness, GNH, instead of GDP to measure success. It's a reminder that an economy should serve people, not the other way around. While this model is still in its early stages, it offers hope for a future where happiness and sustainability take priority over short-term profits. Could this be the solution? It's too early to tell, but we're moving in the right direction. As economist Kate Raworth puts it, we need an economy that is regenerative and distributive by design. If you found this discussion eye-opening, make sure to subscribe to get more insights into how we can fix the economy and build a better future for all. In conclusion, economic systems fail for many reasons, from greed and human behavior to monopolies and flawed models. But there's hope for the future. If we learn from the mistakes of the past and create a system that puts people over profit, we might just create a more sustainable economy for generations to come.